and welcome to another episode of Star 42 with Michael
and Jace.
All right, book throw.
Book throw.
I hope everyone's enjoying the higher resolution of my camera. I got an Elgato 4K face cam thing, and I'm trying it out.
I think you look and sound great. Better than last time.
I've even upgraded to Elgato Stream Deck. The recent Amazon like Prime days they had last month or so, it was like $100 off. So it's so far it's been nice. I like all the buttons, like all the weird stuff I can do with it, like switching my OBS, profiles.
I've looked at the Elgato stuff for a long time. I've always just looked though because I'm like, oh, that's a lot for a
I've been slowly
specialized
investing.
Keyboard.
Well, I don't have an Elgato, but I've got the pedals because I love to demo and like just hit things with my feet, and I'm just all over.
Makes sense.
Anyway, that being said, how's it been in the 2 weeks since Knowledge and since our last podcast?
I feel like I'm still just coming down from the high of having the event. Well, because there was just a lot going on, and I've got some things to do yet with it. Like I'm forming. I mean, at the end of it, it was clear that we got to do it again.
Yes, so I think so.
So the plan is it's going to happen again.
Yes, and I was going to say, and for listeners, to let you know, I think it's been 3 weeks since we last recorded. Today is November 7th. We did a recording right after Knowledge, and I got that published relatively quick compared to usual. And even then, it was a great high. A lot of great stuff. Yeah. I hope you do it again.
That's the plan.
Good. You should. And I will speak again on something. I'll do new content this time.
We're gonna do a couple smaller events though, and try to get some funding on the smaller events to cover the cost of the yearly event.
Okay. I think we can. Are we going to do maybe like sponsorship, like maybe Carl's Jr.? Every time I say Carl's Jr., I get money. This podcast brought to you by Carl's Jr.
I mean, this podcast is kind of your brainchild, so you do what you want with it, and I'm all for it.
Is it my brainchild? No,
I mean, it's I contribute.
Us.
I contribute. We are equal partners in this like forming of this thing, but you're doing a lot of the administrative, the publishing, the back end. And I would say that kind of puts you in a more of a place of authority to put your agenda first of how you might want to handle that kind of stuff. So I'm all for it.
I'm like a deep down communist. Like I'm like workers of the world unite. So first of all, the brainchild is equally Jason mine when we were talking.
All right. Sounds good.
I just put in some of the stuff of like, yes, I pay Riverside FM. And keep in mind, it really doesn't take a whole lot of time to prepare an episode because we have access to AI, and I'm like, clean up audio, clean this up, and I just let it run and do it. It takes like sometimes a couple weeks just for my own PDA, the psychopathic demand avoidance that I always suffer from, where I'm like, oh, I got to do this. And even though it takes 10 minutes, I'm like, can't get myself to do it. So, that's just me. But everyone should know it's equally Jason and me.
I will be more active. I'm all for it. If we want to get sponsors on here, I'm all for it. If you, one of the 5 listeners, or if you guys own a company and you want us to intro, hey, would you like a delicious burgerless burger at Carl's
from
Jr.?
Carl's Jr.?
We will totally do that for you. And then we'll each get $1 or something for everybody who has been, I don't know, whatever it is. I don't know how they do it on podcasts, but
I don't know
whatever.
How to do it at all. No.
We'll figure it out. That's half the fun.
All right. That's cool. So anyway, my daughter's bat mitzvah was last week. She did great. I chanted from the Torah first time in my life.
That's right. You had to memorize some things.
Yes. And that is why we did not record last week. So we're a little behind, but that's okay. Life happens.
Life happens. We should make a shirt. Star 42 merch. Life happens will be one of them. We can make fun little crafts like this.
Yeah, it's a good idea. We need to consider a merch store or something where I'm not on TikTok anymore. We have to figure out how to mass market this podcast.
Just let it organically happen.
I like that.
If you want something, we'll make it. Just ask on LinkedIn and tag me or Mike
Slobodnik. Yeah,
Michael Slobodnik.
All
There's
right,
2 of them though. Be careful.
There is 2 of them.
Yeah. See previous episode number 2.
Oh, number 2. I forgot already. I think this is episode 11 or 10. I don't know. I'll know when I do the editing and stuff. That whole 5 minutes of work. So anyway, interesting news. We had a bunch of news items. First thing is the ServiceNow build agent. Now, I'm going to preface it with, I haven't really got my hands on Build Agent yet.
And neither have I.
But the output I've seen, including, I'm going to do a shout out here, a guy named Mike Vaughn or Michael Vaughn. He is like my boss's boss. I've known him for years. Really smart guy, dry sense of humor that I love. I love working for him. The team I'm on, I went to work for it. He was one of the reasons. And he was messaging me yesterday saying, hey, I need to work with Build Agent. How do I get it set up? And I'm like, well, okay, here's what you do. And the one...
Hold on. I love that you're like, I haven't worked with it, but also,
here's what you do.
Here's what you do.
Well, what I know is this. It is in the ServiceNow IDE.
Yes.
And my constructive feedback about the ServiceNow IDE is if you install it, and I think it's free or on the PDIs, like it's not
pre-installed on PDIs.
Pre-installed. It is like super pro code, Visual Studio-like IDE. And when I first installed it and checked it out, I was like, wow, this is above my desire to do pro code. And
totally understand that.
I think looking at it, I'm like, all right, a lot of my customers probably aren't going to want to use this because you see all this scripting and the Fluent as part of it and whatever. And I have worked with pro developers who do want to access that, and I think that's great.
Yeah.
However, Build Agent is in the ServiceNow IDE.
And it's not anywhere else yet, to my understanding.
Not yet. I can't speak to any product management because I'm not a product manager. Maybe or maybe not. It's being worked on.
We just
other
don't
things.
know. It may or may not come to other places.
If you really want to know, talk to your account team, get the product manager. They'll
right.
probably share a roadmap. But my instinct was, okay, I've been seeing great output from it. Mike Vaughn was doing this cool thing. He was showing me screenshots like, wow, this looks great. However, I can see if you're using it and you're not a pro code developer, it's probably going to build all this stuff and you're going to be like, this looks Greek to me, or Hebrew, if you're whatever. Now, it's my understanding, though, when you build in the IDE, you can switch over to like ServiceNow Studio and continue work. So it's not like you don't have options, which is one of the powerful pieces of platforms. However, when you look at what the Build Agent is kind of targeted for, and then in the environment it's in, there is a little bit of a mismatch. But that being said, so far, the outputs I'm seeing from it are pretty cool.
Yeah. I don't know if the outputs you're seeing from it are just like the React front end kind of stuff, or if you're seeing like native UI stuff and like core UI or workspace stuff. My understanding is Build Agent is limited to what you can do within Fluent. If you can't do it in Fluent, Build Agent can't help you yet.
Yeah. And it's my understanding things like Service Portal. Well, the IDE is designed for like React.js and the UI builder. Service Portal, Employee Service Center is still, built on the Service Portal, AngularJS, UI engine number 2.
Now, that isn't to say you can't build those things in Fluent. You can totally build those things in Fluent.
Yes.
But to convince something to build it in a way that it's not seen is going to be a challenge.
Yes.
Probably. I haven't done it. I don't know.
I haven't done it. Now, you know what? Thinking about it, I do understand why they started with the ServiceNow IDE. Because when you look at like text to flow, for example, you've got to understand there's way more under the hood to define and to talk about a flow, right? But the ServiceNow IDE is all text. The AI models are probably far easier to train on that than flows. So I know Tim Woodruff, Tim's hilarious. I even ordered this signed copy of like ServiceNow Developer.
I have one of the books here somewhere.
Yeah. And Tim and I kind of go back and forth on LinkedIn. He's very much like the negative personality that I want to express myself more, but I don't.
Well, I mean, also you work for the company that he expresses negativity about sometimes.
Well, that too.
And I wouldn't necessarily, it's negative. I just say it's pointed contact. It's like pointed opinions.
I understand it because as yourself, longtime customer, longtime community member myself.
Yeah.
We love ServiceNow, right? I got the tattoos. Well, not quite. Almost. I'm going to get a tattoo of ServiceNow at one point. It's my special interest. I'm someone already beat me to it, so I can't, whatever. But anyway, Tim Woodruff, I know, has been posting a lot of stuff of like, hey, if you build on Build Agent, I want to see the code. I want to see what it's like. Is it really, like under the hood, really solid? I don't know. I have things I want to check as well. But so far, I will say it seems pretty promising. And, they have it for a limited amount of tokens through the PDI to try out. All right, try it out.
It's not tokens. It's requests. It's 10 requests. So you can make a request as long as you want and just hope the AI knows to split it up in tasks.
Okay.
And you can do 10 of those.
Okay.
So it's kind of interesting.
It is interesting. So needless to say, I think it'll be great. And since we're on the topic of AI, this is another big thing we have to talk about. What is this, the negative stuff?
Is this I think it is.
I think it is. Do you want to bring up anything else about Build Agent? Because I got some stuff that I want to.
I don't have
address.
anything else to bring up about Build Agent because I don't have a lot to say about it. I can say more about Fluent, but I don't want to talk about that either because it's a whole thing.
Well, I tell you what, if you get, I will say this to you as a friend, if you want to, see more about it, let me know. I'll demo whatever.
Yeah. I haven't checked it out. I plan to. I just haven't.
All right. Well, I can say this, like my boss's boss, Mike, he's building an app. It looks great. Back end data as well. Looks good. Yeah. So I'm hopeful. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Any new tools can be fantastic as long as it makes sense. We'll see how it works.
Yes, exactly. So the other thing now, talking about AI, because this is interesting. Michael Burry.
I didn't know who he was, and for those who are like me as of this morning, Michael
anyone
Burry,
who's seen the movie The Big Short, which by the way is worth watching because they do a great job explaining how to short stocks, and the fact it's, I think Margot Robbie may explain it as well, helps the explanation.
But my understanding is, and just correct me if I'm wrong, he foretold the 2008 housing recession, and he shorted the banks effectively.
Yes.
And made billions.
Yes, because he basically saw, I'm trying to share my screen. It's not sharing for some reason. He basically saw how a lot of the mortgages were junk. And he realized, wait a minute, in the economy with how they were selling it and everything else, there is no way this can be sustained, especially with variable rates and, the ninja loans, no income, no job kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And basically it caused, it ended up causing, there we go. He made a lot of money from it. And a lot of people made money off it by shorting, by saying, we're going to buy the debt. And then when it goes bad, the government bails out, however it works. Well, recently, Michael Burry, who's a very smart guy, I think in the movie they show him as autistic, whatever. He's been looking at shorting like NVIDIA and Palantir and the AI companies.
Sure.
And there has been an image going around LinkedIn showing how all these companies are basically paying each other money. Like OpenAI is like, I'm committing to 1.7 trillion of infrastructure, and AWS is like, I'm going to buy NVIDIA chips, and
somehow Oracle's in the mix, and
Oracle's in the mix. Okay, Oracle, we're gonna sell services to AWS, and so there is this feeling of well, is this a bubble where these big AI companies are really just shifting money around to each other? I don't know. The company I work for, we are trying to bring AI to the enterprise space, and I think that's the companies that are the ones who are trying to prevent a bubble, because they're the ones that are like, okay, we know there's got to be infrastructure and there's got to be models and there's got to be chips, but ultimately that's great. It's in a bubble, but we need to get AI and make revenue off of people using AI, consumer or businesses, enterprise. So,
well, it poses an interesting question. Is this Michael Burry foretelling the bubble popping? That's really what people are asking, in my opinion. That's what I'm asking.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm curious about. And AI stocks, and of course, because everybody panics and someone can tweet something and it brings all the stocks down or up, which I think should be illegal, but that's another story. A lot of AI stocks have dropped, and I think I don't know what the latest stocks are right now. I haven't looked.
I haven't either. I know ServiceNow stock's a little bit lower, but I've been watching that for the last couple of days because I got some news I was reading from the SEC filings that ServiceNow made a couple of days ago.
Yes. The stock split. I know
the 5-1 split decision that's going to be voted on I think the 5th or something.
I'm not arguing it.
I'm just telling you that's what it is. So
I've no comment. All I can say is I may or may not be. Don't take financial advice from me. That's all I'm going to say.
I don't own any ServiceNow stock. I actually never have, which is crazy.
I did call it probably last year saying I should invest in Intel. I told people you should because Intel was one of those companies where it was down,
It was very
and
low.
they're one of the few chip companies that has their own foundries.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like, they may be kind of down right now, and they've been down before, but they're not going to be down forever. And they have a
Right.
lot
And
to
because
offer.
they
And
own their own stuff, it's not going to cost them a ton
yeah,
to make things. Like they're not going to be dependent on a
yeah,
third-party fulfiller to build their chips.
exactly. And which means as all these other companies like Apple and Samsung are fighting, and AMD are fighting for resources from like TSMC, Intel's like, we got our own, dude. It may not be the best as good as TSMC, but it's good enough.
Right.
And we can meet demand.
And it gives them a lot of options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my point being is, at least in the Intel, I was right because stock's like doubled now. But I did invest because, once again, I'm not a financial person and I'm very risk averse.
Same.
So anyway, that has caused, that's been kind of like news number one of stocks dropping. And this is where, just to let you know, I know ServiceNow has been marketing as the AI platform.
Yep. Totally.
But at the end of the day, ServiceNow is still an enterprise workflow platform that Fred Luddy built.
He did.
And if ServiceNow stocks are dropping because of AI, it's because people are buying into the AI story that we're marketing's talking about. Which
ServiceNow will continue to exist and will continue to provide value,
Yes,
even if AI pops.
Exactly. If AI crashes, ServiceNow will still be there and will still be a platform. And I think people need to realize that that's how ServiceNow is different.
On the same note, you could look at exactly what happened to the crypto stuff. ServiceNow had a whole thing with Hedera, which was a crypto thing.
Did it really? I didn't know that.
It did. You can look into it. But like that obviously fell off the radar. Crypto's kind of gone through the floor, like for popularity, and people just like a lot. I associate it with scams, but like
I do too.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
So
and
I would just say, look at past actions to predict future actions. Right?
Absolutely.
So I don't work for ServiceNow. Nobody at ServiceNow tells me anything new. Even Mike here, he doesn't. I mean, he tries to. I try to listen.
I don't try to. Don't. I don't.
He doesn't. But I'm just saying, like, I don't know what's happening over there. I'm just guessing like everybody else.
I don't know either. I'm an individual contributor. I'm not a strategic person. I can guess. When ServiceNow bought Swarm 64 years ago, my instinct was, hey, we're buying this for the infrastructure. It's not going to be it became an offering for RaptorDB Pro, but ultimately it was to improve things in the infrastructure. But with the Michael Burry, there was also OpenAI's CFO made a mention of there needs to be like a government backstop for AI. Now, I had to look up, ask ChatGPT or Gemini what a backstop was. And basically, a backstop is the government, I don't know if I want to call it a promise or government backing that if something fails drastically in business, like the financial industry or housing industry or whatever, the government will be there to step in and prevent massive losses and essentially help bail out companies.
I hope that doesn't happen.
I hope it doesn't happen because I do think there needs to be some accountability.
Consequences is how I put it.
Yes. And I think the technology is great. I think Jensen Huang is brilliant. And I think he's a great leader. He's predicted things. But I am also a big proponent of evolution. And sometimes I think, wow, I know the AI stuff is going so crazy, but the adoption's not meeting the same level of innovation. And the OpenAI CFO, I forgot her name now already. She mentioned the backstop. And I think that's also going into it now with Michael Burry's. And so
it's likely we'll see stock prices for AI products to go down. And until AI things really start showing a ton of true potential and value, like dollars equals outcomes, that's going to be hard to like argue against it.
Well, I think what's going to happen though is eventually, I don't know what'll happen in between, but eventually get to the point where AI is just embedded in technologies and people just assume it's there and that's it. Like .com era, right?
Well, I don't know. I still think of AI as like the most expensive, fanciest way to have a spell check.
I mean, in a way, yeah.
I mean, spell check corrects what you type. AI tries to correct what you type. It's mostly text. You know what I mean? Like you can do images, whatever. Well, my whole point is like spell check is ubiquitous. If you can imagine in like the 70s or 80s when spell check came out, if companies try to sell spell check as, "Ooh, we're the best spell checker. We are endorsed by Merriam-Webster. We only have the best words, the real words." Whereas the other one, they just have made up stuff. Like, it's fine.
Okay. Yeah. I think ultimately, there's just people are going to get used to being AI in systems. And once again, the reason why I do believe in ServiceNow's AI, like personal belief, even though it's going to sound like marketing, is
Yeah.
there is more to workflow than just Copilot, for example. Like Copilot is great. I'm asking it questions. I'm having to do this. But one of the challenges I've seen is the fact that Microsoft products, everyone uses that out of the box, right? Do you customize Word? Do you put in new buttons? No.
I mean, if you listen to the people that sell ServiceNow, though, at businesses, they don't want you customizing stuff either.
Yeah, there's
It's
nuances to that.
There is.
There's nuances to that. But
There is.
I mean, ultimately, a tool like ServiceNow, enterprise workflow is going to get configured, going to get customized.
There's a big
And
moat with ServiceNow.
yes,
And AI only helps it.
AI helps it, but then also just know that if you're putting AI in, there's going to be more thought and overhead to it than just turning AI on like in Microsoft products. So that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, sounds great, man.
But the only thing I'm careful of with this is the Michael Burry, the OpenAI CFO comment, stocks dropping. I'm a huge believer in the Strauss-House generational theory. Every 80 years or so, there's like a big crisis. My curiosity is just, and timing wise, we're about there, is the OpenAI, the AI bubble leading into like an economic crisis that's going to have an impact. I don't know if I could predict things. I would be in a different place in my life.
Yeah.
But
well, if it doesn't pop, buy energy, because
water too. Michael Burry has predicted water being a big one as well. He's been on stuff like that.
Water kind of speaks to the energy as well, though, because you got to have cooling systems. That makes sense.
True. Yeah.
And underwater data centers have not proven well, right?
Not yet. I think Microsoft had a test one.
Yeah, and they abandoned it. Or they took it out.
And China is supposedly using some for production.
We just got to put data centers in space.
Honestly, I think so.
They could double as a collector for all the other stuff that's in space. It's not used anymore.
What they really need to start doing is putting like data centers downtown, using that to heat water, create steam, and push steam pipes to houses for heating. Double it up here, people.
Maybe. Or just use data centers as like the walls for housing in space, addressing the housing market, and energy efficient, and then you get also the satellite internet stuff, like make it all happen out there. It'd be, go ahead, Elon Musk, if you're listening.
Yeah, go do it. But even though I have been seeing, so you're messaging about the work you've done with AI, kind of like, hey, control your own AI stuff. I'm starting to see more stuff about things like, hey, just get your own graphics card, build your own models in home, or on site. Like, don't.
Did you see the PewDiePie video?
I think I saw it advertised. I didn't watch it yet, though. But yeah.
All right. I know we don't have much time, but I'm going to break it down. So PewDiePie, he's been on this whole side quest. He conquered life, became a giant YouTuber, made a bunch of money, and now he's just doing random stuff. He went down the path of like, ooh, I want to build my own stuff because I want it. And so he made a computer, and he was able to bifurcate the video card stuff. So his computer has like 10 giant, the GTX, the most expensive video cards you can get. I don't know which ones they are. So it's got like 10 of them. And he shared how much he spent on it. And in his 23-minute video, at the 20th minute, he had said something like, you don't need to spend what I spent to do this AI stuff at home. Because the small water models work just fine if you include the tools so it can search the internet or search your data, right? And when it does that, guess what? You still own the data. So you're good to go. So you can do that for much cheaper. You could probably run it on, maybe you can't run it on a Raspberry Pi.
Well, Raspberry Pi does have the Halo NPU. Now, that chip is probably much better to run the inference from the models as opposed to create models. But it brings up a kind of fundamental shift that we've seen this pattern in computing over and over again. Things start in centralized computing, data centers. It eventually expands because it gets cheaper and more accessible to personal computing, and back again and back and forth. And so I'm thinking what's going to happen is there is going to be a shift where personal computers maybe have NPUs. We already know it's happening today.
Yeah.
That they can run the inference from the models, and maybe the data centers are just creating the models, right? And eventually, hopefully computing gets powerful enough and more personal enough that it goes away from the data centers.
Maybe. I mean,
Maybe.
I've been a big fan of letting the big companies fight about making the models, and people like me just consume
Mhm.
those models, like download
Exactly.
it and then run it on your own hardware.
Exactly. And
That
every time there's some new big processing thing, server, whatever, my first question is, but can it run Crisis?
Yeah, yeah. I
If you
mean,
know, you know.
is that still a good litmus test?
I think so, yeah.
Because I
And
haven't
by the
heard that
way,
in a
that
long
that
time.
new like mini supercomputer from NVIDIA, like that's like, I don't know,
Yes.
20 grand or whatever it is. Um, I think, is it John Carmack, the guy big guy in ID software, um, came out and tested and realized like it only gets like half the performance it said it does. So,
I mean,
but
that's
they did test it can run Crisis. So,
wow. Oh, that's
all right.
very cool. Very interesting.
Oh, maybe it was like $5,000. I don't remember. The
I think we
GX
had a whole bunch
Sparks.
of other things to talk about, but I want to blow it away. Can I bring up something else that we didn't talk
Okay, go
about ahead of
for it.
time?
Go for it.
Have I brought up that I've switched my personal laptop? I'm not using Windows personally. I'm using it like for the recording here, but I haven't used this computer for a whole week. I've been using a new version of an operating system that I'm very excited about.
What is it?
Have you heard of Omarky
Uh-uh.
or
What's
Marchy?
up?
Are you familiar with Arch Linux?
Is that the ARM? Isn't that like the ARM 64
No, Arch Linux.
architecture or something?
It's like Ubuntu. It's an ISO. It's a version of Linux,
Okay.
right? But it's very interesting because it's focused on not using your mouse. You can still use your mouse,
Wow.
but it's totally I don't know. Some people, not some people. I really like the person and the company behind making it. I think they make fantastic products. And they said, you know what? We don't need to have an Apple operating system. We don't need to have Windows. We're gonna make our own. And so they went out and they checked out this thing called a Marquee. And it's like a blast from the past. It's like 1980s came and hit your computer. And like, it's just fantastic. I really, really like it. And the install is a lot simpler now. It's very opinionated. And it's great.
So basically, correct me if I'm wrong here, command line is making a comeback.
I mean, this is like this. Like on my computer, you press super space or super enter, it opens terminal, right? It's fantastic. I really enjoy it.
All right.
I was able to like change my screensaver to be my Ayana Box logo. So now it's like using some Python library to make some really cool like effects with like this UTF-8 ASCII code thing that I threw together. Like,
Well, that's
so cool, right? But it's not very it's free. It'll take over your whole computer. So don't think you can dual boot with it because it's opinionated in a way that like it's expected to be on the whole hard drive.
So it can run virtual then, right? Because I run a bunch of virtual
You
virtual
probably
computers.
could run it virtually, but they don't make it for that. But yeah, there's an ISO you can download to try it out.
Download the ISO. All right.
But yeah, anyways.
Marchie, command line typing is coming back, which makes sense, right? Because as we're talking about AI, all the AI type of interfaces are all typing, or maybe switch to voice. But
really, what is voice? Probably being converted to text, right? If you're using ChatGPT and you're talking to it, you can ask it, do you sound like you're upset or angry or whatever, and it'll be like, I don't know, I don't hear you.
So this is interesting, kind of food for thought. Will we get to the point, especially with AI, that especially as AI gets to the point where it can start to do things like on your computer, like how ServiceNow can automate, like it can call its workflows, but that's another, plug. But
Just
ultimately,
an MCP server.
well, that too, but also can AI start doing things for you on your computer where you're telling it, hey, go do this, go do that. And by the way, this goes to an idea I had like 5 or 6 years ago. You remember the Microsoft Lens glasses?
Yeah, yep.
Yep,
The
I
augmented
remember
reality one.
I had this awesome idea for a commercial. It starts off with like a black screen and someone's just talking saying, "Okay, let's do an email, let's say this, do this." And as it's talking, the computer screen's showing everything, right? And as the person's talking, you start to hear more sound of like seagulls and it starts to fade in and it turns into be the guy's wearing glasses. He's on the beach on vacation. And as he's talking about doing all this stuff, it starts off with a screen and it fades into where he really is at. And then all he does is say, "Okay, I'm done with work," and takes the glasses off and runs into the water with his kids or whatever. I thought that would be an awesome commercial and a great way to highlight, hey, we're maybe going towards the idea to say, I'm wearing glasses. I have thick glasses, so I'm already ahead of the game. And this is what I'm telling it to do. And it's just doing it. It understands what I'm doing. and I can then take them off and then go enjoy life because I'm done.
Yeah.
I thought it would be a great commercial. I thought
I
it'd
think
be
we should make
impactful.
it. I think we should make it.
Maybe I should make it be like, I think I thought about a Microsoft Lens, but I could see Apple doing something like that and it being like, people are like, holy moly.
When you say you have the glasses, are you talking about the Meta? Do you have the Meta glasses?
No, just I have glasses in general.
I thought you were like, I actually have the Halo lens from back in the day.
No. Or, nothing like that. I don't think the technology's been to where I want it yet. But I think with AI and voice recognition, it's going to get there. And that's kind of the vision that I have for a marketing campaign. You're right. I should make the video. So if anyone else does, I can like call for trademark or something, copyright.
I mean, I don't know. Try to. Let's see what happens. It's been great. I really love these chats, Mike. I can't wait to talk to you in 2 weeks or less.
All right. Well, have a great weekend. And hopefully my PDA gets us out sooner than later.
Yeah. And if anybody out there wants merch, make sure to tag Michael Subodnik or me somewhere. And hopefully we'll see it.
And we'll come up. But once again, this has been Michael.
And this is Jace. Star 42.
Star 42. Thanks for joining. Goodbye.
So yeah.